he can start, so you just start the timer when he gains control.
Okay. Everyone on here should be audible, so that's fine. Okay, he's loading the game now.
So the big question is it going to be?
I poked my head out of the gutter for one freaking
Adam,
second.
I will give you some
and
information
shoveled
so you can watch it without
in
the
my
game.
face. Go get some sleep. What are you gonna do?
I'll drop by your office tomorrow and we can start sorting this mess out.
He's off.
Dog! I was queuing like a dove. Please, darling, let's move on. Do you want me to talk to a parrot?
Okay, so there's a reason that it's in German. So he wants to make a replay over a rampage, but he doesn't want to pick it up. So by changing it to German, it makes the rampage disappear, and you can just go to the place where it would normally be and make the replay, and then change the language back to English.
They made me say I love you to Bobo.
Ooh.
Okay, I put the volume down for his stream. It shouldn't be too loud now.
I understand. It's natural. We were identical. From a
Hey, someone else talk so I can test.
Hi.
MHMD, do you have the low delay as well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So yeah, he used the replay. He turned the language back to English, and then he used the replay to start a rampage and a mission at the same time.
You'll see why later.
Nice bike. No, my bike!
Wow, properly mined, and he's gone. Hey, Dr. Phillips.
Adam, this is working for you.
Yeah, seems to be working, although I'm getting a lot of artifacts as well all the time.
Should go away, actually.
It's fine for me.
Yeah, I have no artifact.
We'll see how it goes soon enough.
Stay away from me! I got a poisonous.
But yeah, he basically has to pick up the next mission before the timer runs out here as well. So he's got 1 minute to finish this mission off, and then start back alley board as well. And then preferably you want to reach the Malibu Club as well before the timer runs out. That would be optimal. Because then you skip a kind of weird, I guess you can call it a glitch.
Yeah, the game gets confused, and if you fail the rampage right before, you have to go in and out a few times of the Malibu Club.
Yeah, you basically exit the Malibu Club twice.
I'm really sorry.
By exiting, you somehow enter it instead. This also happens in a way when Lance dies during rub out. When you try to enter the villa, then for some bizarre reason you exit it straight away.
Yeah, and you have to turn around and go the wrong way, which is suddenly the right way.
Yeah, it's really weird. He might be able to make it, but it would be ridiculously tight.
Nope.
No, didn't make it. Close call though.
So yeah, he will have to walk out 2 times now.
Yeah, it's not a big deal to be honest.
Well, it's just a few seconds.
It looks interesting at least.
Apparently you're still a bit quiet, I know.
Alright, let me mess around with the microphone and see what I can do.
I turned the game audio down a lot so Adam could actually be heard. But if he wants to boost it, feel free.
I'm using max amplification now.
Yeah, that's better.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, that's
that's
nice.
A lot of amplification though.
Just don't shout now, please.
Whatever works.
So now,
And yeah.
as he's entering the car, he's starting another rampage. And this one will run out exactly as he's going to pick up the next mission.
So what was the first rampage for?
The first rampage was to be able to start a rampage during Back Alley Brawl.
Okay.
Because you're technically on a mission, but at the same time you're not on a mission, which means that you can take phone calls and you can do all kinds of stuff. You could technically pick up 2 different missions at the same time this way.
Yeah, the failed rampage during Back Alley Brawl sets the mission flag to 0, which means you can pick up other missions. And then you start the rampage again.
It's like you're on a mission, but you're really not. Or the other way around.
Yeah, so this section is actually somewhat tight, time-wise. You need to actually get a vehicle right after Back Alley Brawl, because otherwise it's going to mess things up a bit.
Yeah, there is a way though to kind of still save the timing on picking up the mission with replay and the phone call delaying, stuff like that. There's a few ways to manipulate it.
But delaying the phone
he
call
got
would
a
be a
good car
pretty
there.
awkward loss. Oh yeah, Cheetah's great. Ideally you want to get a PCJ or a Sanchez. Those 2 would be the best. Fat Joe would be pretty good as well. The thing with the PCJ is that you could reuse it later on as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can still use the Cheetah as well, it's pretty fast, so you can use that one, and he will, as it looks like he will.
Yeah, it makes sense. And he's going to have barely enough time to finish this vehicle.
Yeah, you want to exactly pick up the next missions on 7 seconds left on the timer.
Yeah, 6 to 7 seconds.
Because it gives you control back sooner than you are supposed to get.
It's actually not necessary, but it's pretty safe to do it that way. You don't have to do it at 7 seconds though.
There are some timings though when you kinda get stuck inside the cutscene, so you have to watch out for that as well. Some people manage to get stuck inside the interior and had the audio of the cutscene when they did it with the wrong time.
Well, if you're late, you can still get on the Fajo very, very easily. So it doesn't matter that much, to be honest. And then the Cheetah would stay there, and you just drive back with the Fajo after passing this mission. But yeah, essentially what's happened during this mission is that since Ractrot was... he had started the mission, and then he failed the rampage, which meant that he was no longer on a mission again. And then he started the mission a second time, essentially, because he hadn't completed it yet. There were 2 cars spawning on top of each other, and they got damaged because of it. You know, they flip over and they take a lot of damage from that. And the goal of the mission is to damage 2 vehicles, so basically you do it instantly because they just flip over on their own.
Yeah, they spawn on top of each other, and the top ones, at least I think it's the top ones, nobody really knows, fall over and damage themselves.
Yeah, it's the top one. So the bottom one would be from the first mission, and then you start the mission a second time by glitching the game out, and then that would be the top car, which flips over. If it would be the other way around, this glitch would actually not work here.
Yeah.
And this saves approximately 1 minute and 20 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, because you don't have to do anything during Jury Fury.
Yeah,
it was only like 40 seconds or something.
No, it's pretty big.
It's pretty big though for this early in the game.
You don't have to do a weird setup anymore. You know, now with the language switch, that hardly costs any time really. Ideally you actually want to have a cop car. I think that's still slightly faster if you get a truly optimal cop car, but
it is faster because of shotgun if it's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the odds of getting that are really, really low. Getting a truly perfect cop car, that is, so just going for the safe setup is the best. I mean, eventually if people decide to grind for those last 2 or 3 seconds that you could save with it, then maybe they'll start going for it. But the luck you need for that is kind of ridiculous.
No, another trick. It's fairly new.
So now he's actually going to make a replay in what seems to be a very random location, because there's nothing there. But during a later mission called Guardian Angels, there's going to be a weapon lying around there. And as soon as you pick up the weapon, you're going to trigger a cutscene. But as it turns out, you can actually pick up the weapon during the replay as well, even though when you made the replay the weapon wasn't there yet. And that's just kind of an artifact of how the replays work. They just... It's a bit like demo recordings, except that they're really not precise at all. Because it just keeps track of what your movement was with Tommy, and then everything else...
everything else is kind of
stored.
flexible, yeah. You can even pick up the weapon in cars basically, then, and he will pick it up while sitting on a bike and will teleport there with his PCJ. Which will look a bit weird, but it's a pretty cool trick.
You can do this in a lot of situations actually. Anytime you can do this kind of replay warp, if you're in a vehicle, you're going to teleport the vehicle along with you.
Yeah, it's actually kind of, well, not important, but good to know that you are not allowed to be inside the boat after boatyard safe warp, because otherwise you would teleport your boat as well and kind of get stuck there.
Yeah, that wouldn't work too well. Well, I guess you wouldn't be stuck, right? But it would kind of mess things up,
well,
I guess.
It would block it a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, now he's about to do the mission with the greatest cutscene in the game.
That we won't really get to see.
Unfortunately not, no. It's kind of a shame because when you play the cutscene out, it actually makes the mission a lot more difficult because the guy manages to get closer to his bike than he normally would.
Yeah.
So even if you want to do it as a joke, you're actually making it a lot tougher on yourself.
Aces did in our little open block that we had because of San Andreas any percent race falling through. He did cutscene percent of this, and he watched that cutscene, and he was still able to make it. But it's really tight.
It's super precise. Usually he's like pretty much getting on his bike, and you have to make sure that you land all your shots there. Otherwise he's going to get away. And then you have to do the long chase, but since you never pick up any weapons suitable for those kind of chases during an any percent run, you know, it doesn't work out that well. You have to knock him off his bike or something.
So he's about to do the warp to the garage.
Yep. Just picking up the mission, getting on the bike, and then triggering the replay as soon as you're on the bike.
Some of the best bikers are really women.
And there he is.
And then the game just assumes that you must have made it to that weapon yourself, even though it was actually done during the replay.
Well, this is apparently a new strat I haven't...
Oh, that's interesting.
He's going for the clothing glitch, I presume.
Huh.
Because
yeah, could be.
This is something that actually somebody PM'd to me. He said that if you do the clothing glitch during Guardian Angels, then you can skip one of the cutscenes. So what Ractrot is going to do now is make a replay at the clothing section, and then drive over to the Guardian Angels destination. And if you do this perfectly, which unfortunately didn't really happen, but then you save a bunch of time. And now he's going to be pretty much even. It's a very small time saver actually, but you know, it's worth going for. Especially since it's not exactly difficult.
You must be Cortez's new gun.
Until more gainful opportunities arise.
Also, he has a lot nicer suit now, just like Lan.
Yep.
You get the roof across the yard.
Yeah, and this mission is essentially unchanged other than that, as far as I know.
Okay, so he walked during that cutscene.
Yep, but that didn't really do anything. That was just for shits and giggles, I think.
Yeah.
But he's going to be able to do the same thing later on as well, and then get inside a vehicle early on.
Oh, so this is during the Haitians going on the bikes cutscene?
Not during that one, as far as I know. I don't think it works during that cutscene, but you can do it during the ending cutscene for the mission.
The kids one.
So that's helpful, yeah.
Yeah, so then you don't have to wait for Diaz's speed and for him to drive off and stuff like that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice and small time saver, and since it's so easy to do. All you have to do is just make a clothing replay, and that's it.
Upcoming the snipe, legendary snipe.
Yep. Still a really nasty thing in Guardian Angels. Because sometimes you can aim for them perfectly and they just won't get shot down. You know, sometimes they take one bullet, other times it takes a lot more.
Oh,
He
there
did
it is.
activate it there to walk up for the snipe.
Ah, okay, so
Wow.
it does work.
Oh,
Oh, that's going to help a lot then.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that saves
That's-
quite some time.
Yeah, that is very, very awesome.
Good to know that this thing
And
exists.
he uses it again. I
Yeah.
don't think it worked this time though.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he mistimed it, I guess. But yeah, that's definitely a huge time saver actually, and it gives you perfect consistency then.
Yep.
So
It's
never
pretty
mind
much
what I just said,
impossible to
Guardian
fail.
Angels has just become trivial.
Yeah.
That's great.
And what you would do during that last cutscene is already get on the Sanchez.
Yeah, get
And
on
then
the
driving off
Sanchez
is kind of
and drive
hard
off.
because you don't see anything, but you know.
Yeah, it's similar to the old route where you did the Sunshine Autos race list thingy, where you
Yep.
had no camera. But
Yeah.
you can drive if you look at the minimap and kind of know where to go.
Alright, perfect zip there. By driving your bike into the wall like that, and jumping off, there's actually not enough space for you to really jump off there. So the game kind of tries to push you out of bounds, I guess, but then freaks out and decides to put you in the only location that it can think of, which happens to be in the middle of that island. It looks like a really huge trick because, you know, you're getting past the gate when it's still locked, but in reality it saves about... I think that trick alone saves about 5 seconds, and then if you combine it with the phone call glitch, where you can sprint during phone calls, it's about 10.
Yeah,
Messing
It's
it
not-
up costs a lot of time though.
it's not as huge as it might look, but it's very useful. And the big difference is basically you would normally pick up the phone call before the gate, and then it opens, and now you pick up the phone call, and right as it ends you pick up the next mission already, so you save the part that it normally takes you from getting to from the gate to the mission pickup.
Yep. Normally you would actually... Well, these are very old strats, but normally you would have jumped off the bike and had the bike slide all the way towards the gate, and then just pick up the phone call on the way there. But you would be forced to stand still for a couple of seconds still. So that's why the gate zip is slightly faster. You can also punch off the car door during the phone call, which means that you don't have to open it up when starting the chase.
Okay, he's gonna use a lamppost to do this glitch. Oh, he screwed up.
Yeah, he kind of knocked over the lamppost there instead of driving next
Lamppost
to it.
strats are very, very unreliable, to be honest.
They're fun for me, but...
But what he was trying to do is basically the same that he did with the wall, just that the lamppost actually has a smaller hitbox than the wall in terms of blocking the pushing out animation.
Yeah, so you can't
But
just...
it would have been basically exactly the same.
Yeah, the idea is exactly the same. So you push the driver out of a seat, or you drag him out of a seat, and then he tries to steal his car back, obviously, because he's supposed to be in control over this car and drive towards the safe house here. But what you do instead is just block off the door so that he can't push you out, and you accelerate as well as soon as he starts getting inside, which means that you're driving too fast for him to kick you out, and at the same time, you know, the door is blocked off anyway, so he wouldn't be able to do it. And then he's stuck in the passenger seat, he can't go anywhere. And all the game checks for is whether the thief and you are beyond a certain marker. An invisible marker, basically, and then the final cutscene triggers.
I'm looking for the money, Sonny. Don't worry.
I am worrying, Tommy. That's my style, because I seem to have this problem in my life with unreliable people.
Out of bounds is always good fun in Vice City.
Unreliable person, Tommy, please. Do us both.
Although, what you actually want to do there is go out of bounds and go inside the bridge, and then jump through the ground again and go back in bounds. But what he did instead was that he didn't manage to go back in bounds straight away, so he had to run all the way to the other side of the bridge, fall into this void, and once you reach a certain height, it will just teleport you back in bounds again. Which is essentially equivalent speed-wise. You don't really lose anything from it. It looks more fancy as well.
Yeah.
Next mission is a nice auto-scroller.
The next missions are not quite as interesting as the first few that we saw with glitches and stuff. The next few missions are
You
actually
can
not really
glitch these
broken.
missions out as well. You can take phone calls during these missions, for instance, by Rampage starting them. In the case of
Yeah.
this mission, it would not be recommended, to be honest.
You can do that pretty much in every mission, but yeah, okay, what he's showing off there is where Tommy actually stands in that mission if you don't have the first-person camera.
And I think his firing rate's gonna increase by a lot.
Pretty drastically.
Yeah, so it's hard to get a slow Venom Pen if you have done this.
Yeah, but it's not a really big time save anyways, because if your aim is impeccable, it's actually probably faster than this, since you lose a little bit of real time by starting the replay with the close.
Still, it makes it more consistent.
Yeah, more consistent.
I mean, the aiming is terrible either way. It jumps all over the place, the crosshair.
Did actually fuck up the first cycle there a little bit.
Probably just not used to it, because normally you don't actually do this strat. But since he's got the clothing replay, he's going to mess around with it, I suppose.
Yeah. Ractrot knows a lot about this game. He knows all kind of weird glitches, helpful or not helpful. So he can improvise a lot of stuff.
I guess that third round is a bit easier, because you can just blow up the car straight away.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost time. Normally you want to go for the guys because it's faster than killing the car, but with this, I guess you might as well just go for the car.
I think, considering that he has to make a clothing replay anyway, he might as well just go for this strat, to be honest. Because it probably, on average, is going to be faster, I would assume. There's a couple of areas where you can shoot the guys down sooner than you normally would be able to. And the high firing rate also means that it's less likely that you're just going to miss because of bullets not firing as a kind of stream.
Yeah, because the helicopter keeps on moving, and if you're unlucky, your crosshair moves a little bit in the time that you are shooting and reloading for the next bullet, and then you don't hit. Which is obviously halved with this one.
But yeah, now it's going to be a very short normal mission again. No glitches there either, as far as I remember. Unless there's...
Well, the bolt mechanic is kind of a glitch.
It's not really a glitch, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
it's
just...
not really intended that way.
Yeah,
Well-
you don't lower the boat and all that, you just go into it, you warp through the fence.
Yeah, well, that's just how boats work. So that's why I'm not really keen on calling it a glitch, because that works with every boat. You can stand quite far away from it, and it will just teleport you inside.
Yeah, that's true, but I would say like the mission is in itself kind of a bit broken, that it falls down when you enter it.
More like a trick,
But
I
you can
guess.
enter it in numerous ways, right? You can take a helicopter as well. I mean, obviously they did it intentionally, I guess, if you manage to get inside the boat that it drops down. Because that would be a weird thing to program accidentally.
Yeah. Not sure how Rockstar made that.
I mean, it's obvious that they didn't really mean for you to run up the fence there and then teleport inside of it, but it just happens to be close enough.
And yeah, the next mission is another half auto-scroller.
Yeah, it's a short one though. It takes about a minute, the auto-scrolling part.
And at some point you were taking phone calls during this mission.
I experimented with it, yeah. I tried Rampage starting the mission, but it usually screwed things up a bit. Because I always had the chainsaw Rampage, because that's the most accessible one at the start, right? And I used that one to Rampage start this mission, and then you end up with a chainsaw at the end of it. which meant that you weren't able to actually shoot any of the boat guys down.
So you would die because you can't kill them?
Yeah, if you timed it correctly, I think you were able to just barely make it, but it was kind of unpleasant. With a different rampage, you could do it just fine. If you take the drive-by rampage, for instance, it's the Tech 9 one, after the chase or something.
Yeah, with that one it would work, yeah. Like any kind of ranged weapon that deals a bit of damage.
Yeah, as long as it just isn't the chainsaw or the katana or something.
Yeah.
Hell, even if it was a car rampage, you would be able to do it, I guess.
Yeah, because
it doesn't
you don't
force you
get
into a
fixed
weapon.
weapons, exactly.
Yeah.
And now he uses...
Again, fire rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Except it doesn't really help here because it's an auto-scroller.
Yeah, it's on the timer anyway.
Yeah.
This time is purely for fun.
I guess you can do a damageless or something with it. Or you're more likely to do a damageless.
I hope he's gonna shoot Lance.
He probably will. He always
sure
does
he
that,
will.
I think.
Yeah. I think I did that every single run I did, or every time I did that mission since someone told me about it. It actually is on the SDA run as well.
There's another situation where you can kill Lance, which would be back alley brawl. You can drag him out of his car bit, and then shoot him right afterwards.
Oh yeah.
So you can kill Lance twice during a run.
Doesn't
that
actually
crash
failing
the game?
missions because of...
No, that
it
doesn't crash the game. It crashes the game if you stay inside the... No, it kills you if you stay inside. It doesn't crash the game either.
It just kills you straight up, yeah.
That sounds like fun.
This part always reminds me of Oasis's video where his boat just flips over because Lance is a horrible boat driver.
Yeah. The route for Lance's boat is not 100% safe, so if something blocks him and he has to dodge it, he can crash it basically and flip it or whatever. Can go wrong.
You get stuck. And then you have to shoot Lance and then...
Oh, okay, he uses the
run
replay
away.
there again to kind of skip the cutscene.
See you around, Tommy.
Okay, Mr.
Save some time as well.
Yep.
But he didn't kill Lance though, because of it.
Reset.
Still saves a couple of seconds here. Yeah, Ractrot and I were talking about using the clothing replay during Guardian Angels, but it seems like there's still a few more applications for it.
Apparently, yeah.
I wonder if you could use it during the rub-out cutscene as well, where Diaz starts talking to you, for instance.
You can actually skip that already. You can actually skip that one already.
Yeah, you can skip it already, but it is a bit of a detour.
Yeah, it's not much of a time save, like 2 seconds or something, but you can.
It does give you a lot more health, actually.
That's true, if you do it.
And you get to chainsaw Diaz. Well, that helicopter took a little bit of damage there. Kind of a dodgy landing.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep that helicopter as healthy as possible, since you keep it until you actually start Boatyard.
Convoy, halt! What's up with the gunner? Don't know, sir. We're taking enemy fire. Stop it.
It's unfortunate that a lot of the tree hitboxes are very, very imprecise. So it actually covers a lot more than the trees themselves.
Yeah,
And it's
models
very,
and
very
actual
easy to-
hitboxes don't always line up.
Yeah, they usually don't line up. So it's easy to... When you're trying to fly in between a couple of trees, you'll very often just end up hitting them somehow. Even though you can clearly see that you didn't hit the tree, but it still actually collides with it. And the biggest threat for tanks seem to be lampposts, because if you drive into them, they very often slow you down for some bizarre reason.
Lampposts
get
are
stuck on
incredibly
them.
strong against tanks, yeah.
No, it's the lamppost physics. If you drive the wrong angle into the lamppost, it slows any vehicle down, including tanks. But if you drive straight on, you just destroy it without slowing down.
Usually, but not always. I mean, I've got a beautiful highlight in GTA 3 where I drove straight into a lamppost and it flipped my Trashmaster. It did a backflip, basically. Which is impressive for that vehicle since it's also that slow.
What Ractrot also did there before he picked up the phone call, he replaced his closing replay with a new one, and he made that replay exactly on the asset buy marker, basically. And he will be using that later to save warp there, just like he kinda did during Guardian Angels.
Yeah, and that saves a lot of time, because it's going to happen right after Checkpoint Charlie, which just ditches you in the middle of nowhere. Like you're stuck in a boat in somewhere, I think south of Starfish Island or something. So that actually saves, I think it was 50 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, but it was time to.
Right, the old China, it's Paul. I might have a little result for you, but I need to speak to you in person. I'm enjoying a little R&R at the Club Malibu.
And yeah, some of these phone calls don't really seem to fit in very well. You know, you can see Ractrot standing still for a short while, and that's simply because so much of the game is skipped nowadays that there is no better spot to fit them in.
Yeah, originally phone calls were routed very well, and most of them were taken during Sunshine Autos, an asset that we don't do anymore these days. And because of the fact that we don't do that asset anymore, we don't have place for the phone calls anymore, so we actually had to find new spots where we can take phone call. So some of them might look weird.
Now we only need to find the phone call glitch.
Yeah, then that problem would obviously be solved.
It's hard to imagine a phone call glitch though, because a lot of stuff has been tested already.
Yeah.
And it's going to be
replays
something really random. It is going to be something really random. Like, that's something we don't even think about. It just randomly happens and wow.
I mean, we do have a couple of recordings of phone call glitches, but none of them indicate anything.
Yeah. It's like random weird button presses, combinations, impossible to tell what it is.
There's a permanent phone call state, but
permanent
it's
phone
not
call
really.
state is unfortunately quite useless. I mean, you can go on a rampage if you want, you can get 6-1 at stars for instance. Maybe it's useful if you're trying to steal a tank, but that's just not useful in Vice City. It would be cool in GTA 3 instead.
On the topic of phone call, as far as I know, as by the way, the very first person to get it was Ractrot.
Wasn't it Chance? Just Chance?
No, he was the first one to have it on recording and on his stream. But as far as I know, Ractrot had it first by his dog just walking over his keyboard, and then that happened. So that's how random it is.
Yeah, and Fatska had it twice during ESA.
Yeah, and Menno.
Wait, it happened twice to Fatska?
He was just doing SSA, I think, but...
Mostly SSA, I think, yeah.
Yeah, just doing a couple of casual races during ESA, and
he got
no
it for
idea
like
why.
2 to 3 phone calls in a row as well, without doing anything additionally, so who knows.
No, like, it seems that once you get it, all your phone calls from that point on are, like, fast. So you just need to get it once and then you're done.
Unless you do something, because it did remove itself at some point again.
Oh really?
He didn't skip every single phone call, he skipped only 3 of them and then it was back to normal. But it seems like if we can figure out how it works, it might be possible to get it for every single phone call if you do it once.
We haven't really tried decompiling the SCM file for Vice City, right? I wonder if there's anything worth looking at in there.
Well, the main STM file, that one's easy. I'm not sure how closely Lineator looked at the actual executable. So I don't know about that.
It could be worth looking into, but I mean, from the looks of it, it's something extremely weird. Because it's happened in so many different situations.
Yeah, reverse engineering the
inputs
phone
never
calls
seem to
by
matter.
Yeah.
This place is gonna be crawling with assholes. Be careful.
You're gonna get it in. Don't worry, Tommy.
Oh, Oasis says it has been decompiled.
Also, he's looking at the ground because it screws up the Colombian guy's aim. And yeah, you really need a lot of health and armor at this point.
Well, technically it's very, very easy to heal up right afterwards. But right after shakedown, for instance, but still, if you can avoid taking damage, then that's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
keeping
that's
armor
what
is
I
good.
said earlier there, he skipped the cutscene with Diaz, and that makes Diaz stand inside his little office there, I guess. And you just chainsaw him to death.
Yep, he never comes outside, you never trigger the cutscene, and he just stands still. There's a bunch of other dudes shooting you, unfortunately, so you do take a bit of damage.
Saves a couple of seconds.
So yeah, because he parked the helicopter in a specific spot, and he also got out of the helicopter in between the missions and then got back inside of it, the helicopter's still here. And you can use it to fly to shakedown. This is something that we tried very early on, but with a police helicopter, and that always ended up being pretty much even to taking the Infernus. So it wasn't until... well, it's not, I guess, very recent, but you know, for a long time we did use an Infernus for this mission instead.
Yeah, you lose a lot of time just getting to the helicopter in the first place, whereas if you park it in front of the mansion here, it saves a lot of time, obviously.
Yep.
It's also notable that the news helicopter is actually the second fastest helicopter in the game, only topped by the Hunter, which is impossible to acquire.
Yeah, you need 100 packages for the Hunter, right?
100 packages or finish the last mission, which is obviously not an option if you do any percent.
My store! My wonderful store! He's out of control, Captain.
So yeah, it's pretty convenient that the news helicopter actually spawns there right after chase, so close. Very convenient.
What's annoying as hell about this mission is that sometimes you can get solid windows, which... oh, well, by solid windows I mean that you shoot a window, it gets destroyed, and then it's still there, and you can't shoot through it. It's indestructible at that point.
Yeah, you can't walk or shoot through it. It's basically a wall, an invisible wall.
Yeah, and the annoying thing is that when you shoot windows from a distance, you can't actually tell. Until, you know, you notice that, oh, I fired 30 bullets at this window and it's still not broken. But then again, it could always be bad RNG, because these windows, their health just doesn't make much sense. Alright, so now he's going to wait around and take a phone call as well. Because again, these phone calls just don't fit in anywhere really, and this is kind of the best spot where you could take it. It's a short phone call anyways. Next up is going to be Bar Brawl, where you don't actually use the helicopter.
It's also important to park the helicopter pretty much where you parked it there, on the flower stuff, because if it's too close it will actually despawn.
Yep, gotta be very careful with it.
I reckon so. All I'm saying is keep your eyes open, and you might find...
So yeah, if you would lose a lot of health beforehand, then this would be a good spot to heal up, of course.
And he broke his back right there.
Yeah. Next up, he's going to moonwalk to Bar Brawl, I guess. Copy to unit during.
We'll probably show it. It will probably show that after the run.
Yeah, the estimate's super generous anyway. So.
Well, we made it a while ago when the runs weren't quite as fast as they are now.
Even then, it was fairly generous.
True, the estimate for the race is even worse.
What was the race estimate?
125.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Phil actually got a 113, so...
Yeah, I noticed that he was way behind everybody else, but I didn't actually manage to see what went wrong on his side.
At the beginning he screwed up the rampage starting off the party.
Oh, yeah, then you have to either kill yourself or you have to just reset the game.
Yeah, first he had to kill himself, and then he pressed the replay too late and just started the mission.
Ah, that's even worse.
So you screwed it up 2 times.
And by some miracle I get a PB.
Yeah, MHMD actually won and got a PB in that race, so that was pretty good.
It would be nice to... Oh, I wonder if you could use the clothing... no, you can't really do that, right? Using the clothing replay there to just kill the guys during the cutscene, that would be fantastic.
No, you can't, because you need it for the safe warp, and the safe warp probably saves a lot more time than that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
If you could keep multiple replays, that would be insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically you could. You could swap them around by just alt-tabbing and checking the files, but that would be...
But that's not legal.
Yeah. It would be a very, very odd strategy, kind of. Because technically you would make the replays during the run itself, but still.
I've been busy trying to sort things out. You didn't give me a lot of support down here, Sonny.
It would be as dodgy as modifying save files or something.
Yeah. It's definitely not an option.
So, next up is going to be Copland, and for Copland you want to have gang members spawn at the mansion. They're not always there for some reason. But if you can get a good group there, or maybe even 2 groups, then you can get 2 wanted stars straight away. You don't have to drive over anybody, you don't have to shoot anybody. Oh, he got really good luck here. And that means that you can just fly straight to the garage. Still have to pick Lance up here, and from this point onward you can ignore him for a while. Unless he's an idiot and decides to not get inside the garage. Or shoots you in the back with a shotgun, which, you know, Lance is kind of known for.
Yeah.
There's also the glitch where Lance decides to just randomly run around the mall and not actually come outside. That's always fun.
He wants to go shopping.
Yeah. I remember losing PB pace runs to that stuff. Just because Lance would run around for a minute and a half.
I remember that one.
Fits perfectly. Bit tight around the crotch, though. Oh yeah, yeah.
Also upcoming the sad skip of Lance's best line in this game.
Hey there, officer. Nice badge, nice badge.
Yep, and we sadly skipped that one.
That punch is not necessary, by the way. You can just fly off and you'll be fine.
Well, he could still get in.
In this case, he might be caught up, actually.
No, if he gets in, you're still fine. You can skip the lines anyway.
Oh yeah,
that's what I always do. I never bother punching him.
Huh.
Lance behaves a little bit weirdly afterwards, because sometimes he doesn't actually show up straight away. As if he's stuck inside the mall or something. I'm not really sure what happens there. This is the safest way to do it, of course. Just punching him once. And since we've got 5 wanted stars at this point, it's technically not really necessary to shoot any cops here, because they'll just stand in front of your vehicle and shoot their pistols at you. Which is of course bad for your helicopter health, so you don't really want to do it. But at the same time, you can just run inside. Of course, it is safer to just shoot the cops so that you definitely don't get busted, but I don't think... Has anybody ever been busted during this mission?
I don't know, but...
It's possible that it might have happened to me once, because I thought, hey, they would never bust you, and they only shoot you with 5 stars, and then they actually busted me.
Yeah, I guess if they get enough time, then they might bust you, yeah.
If you stay there, and they might bust you eventually.
Yeah, but normally their priority is to shoot you instead of bust you at this point.
It's like they're walking towards you, and then they start shooting, and then they walk again, and then start shooting, and if you're, like, I don't know, if it takes too long, they just go close to you and bust you.
Apparently Moon's been busted a couple of times.
There are a few cops with M4s there, and they shoot the other cops, so if there's a cop near your helicopter, he can actually shoot your helicopter with the M4.
Ouch. That would be kind of devastating, yeah.
It's like the standard cop behavior past 3 stars, they just rather shoot at you than bust you, unless they absolutely have to.
Well, unless you're just standing still for a long time inside the vehicle, then they'll bust you.
Should be good though.
So yeah, next up is going to be Boatyard. Horrible asset because the ramps, they can be a bit unreliable. Usually it's fine though.
Oh come on, it's the best asset.
Please no.
We've all had like so much fun on this one. So many great runs lost.
Here.
Yeah.
Troll yard.
Never forget Possessed Warriors. world record, actually.
Oh god, I remember that one. When he... That was a 140.51 run, I think.
Yeah, yes,
wasn't
yes.
it?
Yeah.
And he got stuck on one of the piers for a while. He's so lucky that he managed to push the boat off.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, this is a bad start for Checkpoint Charlie, but it's annoying when you get bad boats here. Worst thing is when they're blocking you off near the ramps. Because then you can't align yourself properly. In order to be able to take the ramps somewhat consistently, you have to go at them at a very straight angle and go at full speed. He nearly overshot that first one. It was extremely close. The ramps that you get during Stuntboat Challenge are a lot more reliable. Although there's still some funky stuff that can happen with them, but at least they don't, you know, launch you ridiculously high into the air. And these do, sometimes so high that you actually skip past the package. And then there's of course also solid packages. Like that one. Perfect timing.
I think the weirdness of the ramps is more about the boat and less about the ramp itself.
Yeah, with the other boat actually, you have a lot less weird stuff going on with the ramps because the mass is higher.
Well, it's also got a different velocity. It doesn't go as fast.
Yeah, true.
This one is way faster than the other boat. It's like a 20 to 30 second difference, if I'm not mistaken, for this mission alone. And this isn't a long mission, so that difference can be pretty important here. But yeah, solid packages are one of the worst things that can happen. There's a couple of spots where if you get a solid package and you just happen to hit it at a bad angle, it'll actually launch you out of the water and put you on an island. And then you just fail the mission automatically. There's nothing you can do about it. It can also flip your boat over. But yeah, what's going to happen now is that he's completed Boatyard. He's going to exit the boat, cancel the phone call as well, and then purchase Printworks during a replay, which teleports him to Printworks.
And he actually didn't pay any money for the assets, but it doesn't really matter, but you notice he didn't lose any money.
Yeah, it used to be a big deal. That's like the first glitch that, I think Bastion found that one, right? That you can buy assets during replays without paying for them, and that was a big deal, because that means skipping Cone Crazy. And of course we found that you can warp around as well as you buy these assets, and then, you know, one thing led to another.
Start of the GTA Vice City glitch revolution.
Yep, definitely was a big thing. But we all knew that replays were broken, like we'd experimented with the replays before, a very long time ago, also in GTA 3. But that was just the one thing that we hadn't tried. And that led to a lot of new discoveries. He's going to have to pick up some armor here now. Technically he should be able to make it without the armor as well, but it would be extremely risky. Because he's going to ignore every single enemy on the boat here, and just run all the way up. If you're lucky you won't take any damage from it, but if they do hit you, you know, a single bullet already does about 14 damage roughly. It's a lot of damage per bullet, and it's a fast firing weapon as well. At point blank range for everybody. Bizarrely enough, jumping off the boat deals about 8 damage or something. It's nothing. Just like jumping off the tallest skyscraper in the game deals, I think, 17 damage. And that's a long drop as well.
Okay, in a bit he's gonna make a save, and he's gonna wait around for about 2 minutes and something seconds.
2.5 minutes roughly, I think.
Yeah,
You
he's
don't
probably
need that much
going
time anymore now.
Probably gonna go for 2.5.
Yeah.
And, well, you'll see why.
Yeah, so now
well, rampages are 2 minutes long, right? But if you have a replay more than 2 minutes in the future, and you activate the replay, it's going to cancel the rampage. So you can just really quickly duplicate missions, like the last Printworks mission.
Yeah, because normally you would either have to fail the rampage by just waiting for 2 minutes, that used to be an old strategy as well, or alternatively you'd have to pass the rampage in order to be able to pick up a mission again, you know, a second time. But now that works a bit differently. But what matters here is the in-game timer. So not the in-game, you know, not the fact that it's almost 6 PM in-game, but just how long you've actually spent in the game when the replay was made.
Yeah, what he's basically doing is he's making a replay 2 minutes and a little bit into the future. Then he reloads the save, and because the in-game time is 2 minutes and something in the future, if you start a rampage and then replay that rampage, the game thinks the 2 minutes that you normally get for a rampage is ran out, and then you automatically fail the rampage, which makes the duping process a lot faster, because you can instantly dupe again and again and again.
So there's a hypothetical New Game Plus run that you could do with this as well, where you already have this replay pre-made from a previous save file. But nobody does that, because it would be dumb. You wouldn't be able to do all of the other glitches as well, pretty much.
Yeah, it would get rid of every single replay glitch that he used before this one, because you would kind of only keep one replay, like we said.
So in the end it doesn't even save that much time anymore.
No, originally it did save a lot of time, but since we found way more strats, it's actually not really a good option anymore.
So yeah, he's almost ready to make the replay, and then he's just going to reload the previous save file and keep this replay.
And there he goes. Now he will dupe this mission 5 times.
Yeah, so the idea is that you enter the mission marker and you trigger a rampage at the exact same time. And as soon as, you know, the mission started, you've skipped the cutscene, you're going to fail the rampage by triggering the replay again. Jump into the marker again, start a rampage, skip the cutscene, jump into the marker, trigger a replay again to start the rampage, etc, etc. And that allows you to start the same mission several times at the same time.
You got pretty good duping.
5 times.
And yeah, 5 is the magical number, because he needs 4 dupes plus the original one to complete the asset 5 times to get the required asset number. And the last dupe is to be able to take phone calls during the mission that he's doing right now.
Yeah, so there's going to be 5 helicopters, there's going to be loads of cars, loads of people at the harbour as well. And an additional fun glitch is that the traffic lights freak out. There's going to be a disco kind of on the road.
Yeah, there's also no traffic anymore and people, because the game can only store a certain amount of cars and AI in the memory, and it's basically used up completely by this mission, so nothing else can spawn.
Yeah, there's no more space left available for anything else to be on the road anymore, because the mission takes priority over everything else. So despite the fact that he's picked up the mission 5 times, he only has to pass it once, kind of. He's only going to pick up 1 set of plates, and he's also going to take a phone call. During a phone call, you can't be attacked by anybody. Nobody ever bothers shooting at you and such, which makes sense because otherwise it would be horribly unfair, right? I mean, if you trigger a phone call and suddenly you get a wanted star, for instance, then how would you deal with that? You're not allowed to shoot normally. Due to the phone call glitch, you can shoot, and he obviously will shoot as well. But at the same time, nobody else is going to attack him. Ractrot also made a replay, a very short replay over the save marker, which will allow him to teleport back to Printworks quite soon.
Yeah. And the ending of this mission is actually really critical. It's not hard, but it's important to not screw it up. Because if he gets into the marker where you normally finish up the mission, because he failed the rampage, it would start the mission again by the same time completing it, and would instantly crash the game. So
it doesn't instantly crash it yet, because you can... If you pick
complete it anymore.
Yeah, you can't complete it anymore, but it doesn't instantly crash the game. What happens though is that as soon as you pick up any other mission, it will crash the game.
And yeah, there's a little setup that you can finish the mission without picking it up again, and that's what he's trying to do now.
Yeah, and if you screw this up, you'll have to kill yourself, basically. Just jump into the water, and then you should be fine again. But that obviously means that you lose all your weapons as well, which is kind of awkward for capture collectors. So yeah, what he did there is just jump onto the platform, barely hit the marker, and then instantly walk off of it. One fun thing about completing this asset 5 times at the same time is that you also get 5 times as much money from the quest reward, and you also get 5 times as much money from just the asset itself, because you slowly accumulate money over time, and now he's getting 5 times as much as normally.
Yeah, everything is basically duplicated, including the counter in the game that actually counts how many assets you completed, which is the very important part.
Yep.
So now 2 more missions.
Yeah, they're pretty straightforward.
So yeah, if you're wondering why we'd pick Printworks then and not do something like Pole Position, for instance, because Pole Position would be faster, you have to do Printworks anyway. You also have to do Boatyard anyway. Everything else is optional.
Not required. It's actually optional, but
it is optional.
It
yeah,
is
but it's
the fastest asset from the optional ones that we have to do. Because
you can't replace it with Pole Position though.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Is that even taxable?
Yeah, it's the shortest taxable asset. This one.
Yeah, and you need a taxable asset because for keep your cut the collectors that he's doing right now, if you don't have a taxable asset, you automatically fail this mission. So what happens if you only do Printworks and only completed Versetti Estate beforehand, you would not be able to finish the game. So we have to do one optional asset there.
One fun thing is that he's also got infinite ammo for the Tech 9 right now, and for some reason it doesn't actually show up in the top right corner, but he can shoot as much as he likes with it.
Yeah.
Something kind of similar happens in GTA 3 as well, but you end up with 30,000 ammo instead. So if you do a grenade rampage there in a very specific way, you can end up with 30,000 grenades as well after the rampage.
Did he just get Ghost Bike? Yeah, he gets Ghost Bike.
Nice.
So sometimes you the first person on the bike instead of the second with the drive-by, and that leads to a Ghost Bike because the game kind of still thinks there's a driver on it, even though it's the person in the back just alive, and after you kill him, the bike still thinks there's someone on, so it just keeps on driving basically.
Yeah, it doesn't matter time-wise though.
No, not
Because the next phone call that he has to take is very, very short, and it takes enough time to reach your destination anyway, so that it's triggered automatically.
Alright, that's the last mission.
Yep, and this mission is weird because if you don't move your mouse at the start, then nothing happens.
Yeah, no enemies. Well, they spawn, but they are too stupid to get in for some reason.
I've never understood why. As soon as you move your mouse, you can even stand still, just move your mouse around a bit, they'll suddenly get inside.
Maybe.
It's probably some lazy programmer who, instead of like putting the proper trigger, put it on like when someone moves because they expected you to move.
I think this will be a sub 101.
Yeah, looks like it might be.
Yep, it was a very clean run. I think there was only a few like minor bumps at the start or something.
Which is less than a minute slower than his PB then actually.
Yep.
So really good run.
Yeah, the nice thing about Vice City 80% nowadays is just that there's so little RNG in it. So you can get consistently really good runs with it as well.
Yeah, those
when do I stop the timer, by the way? Is it when it starts fading out, isn't it?
Yeah, when he loses control and the fade out starts.
Okay.
Those bumps in the cars are what makes him those few seconds that he needs at this point.
Yep, that's pretty much it. It's, you know, kind of boiled down to just traffic RNG and vehicle RNG. There's one point where you still rely on getting a random vehicle, and Ractrot got a cheater there, which was good. I think a PCJ would be marginally faster, for instance. Or a Sanchez. Tiny difference, but at this point, you know, everything else is so optimal anyway that that part becomes very, very important.
Yeah, the game is down to 59 minutes and 40 seconds at this point. So the long-awaited sub 1 hour actually happened.
Yeah, that's also within 20 seconds of Phil's Sum of Bests, right?
Yeah, it was a really good run. And
yeah,
that's
it's
it.
super clean.
And GG.
1 hour 50 seconds.
GG.
Nice.
Nice run.
Nice.
Very good.
Very impressive.
Tommy? Oh my God, Tommy, what happened?
What does it look like?
It looks like you ruined your suit, and Tommy, that was a beautiful suit. Tommy, what on earth happened?
Had a disagreement with a business associate. You know.
I always like that line where he says he ruined his suit that he's not wearing.
Maybe I pee in their pants. I don't start World War III. You know, maybe you should speak to my shrink.
Right, now we're actually ahead of schedule again.
Tommy, I
That's
never
good.
liked that guy, okay? He's neurotic.
Well, KS% is going to put us well over.
Yeah, but I wanted to start at least